In this top 10 video, we will be discussing my picks for the most powerful cards in Commander. So for the purpose of this video, powerful cards are going to be defined by the amount of card advantage generated during the time that they are active or in play. As usual, just remember these are opinions. Let me hear your picks in the comment section below. We're going to be doing more videos like this every week, so subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Alright, well, let's kick this list off with two cards that need no introduction: Sol Ring and Mana Crypt. I'm pretty sure that all of us at some point in time have been sitting across the table from either of these two cards, and it was a blowout. These two cards, every time resolved, end up setting the opponent so far ahead, you're stuck playing catch up pretty much the entire game. I mean, you all know that old adage, if somebody starts off with Sol Ring on turn 1, they're doing pretty good, and they're pretty good at Magic. And then there's this dirtbag here, Mana Crypt. I'm pretty sure at some point in time we've all been sitting across from one of the most ridiculous early game starts, and it always starts and ends with this card here. I don't think there's much that needs to be said about the power level of this card, but if you're not sure, you start right there in that top right hand corner of the card and you see that Cheerio there, and you know you're doing good. Alright, next up is Sensei's Divining Top, the game's true Swiss Army knife. This card is one of the most versatile and useful tools in the entire game. It's a repeatable source of card advantage by allowing you to draw cards pretty much every turn. You are also allowed to manipulate the top 3 cards of your library, which gives you a ton of card selection and versatility when it comes to the long game. Alright, Jeff, do you have anything that you want to add about Sensei's Divining Top?
Sensei's Divining Top, as far as card selection goes, is one of the most efficient sources of such in the entire game. For 1 mana a turn, you get to view the top 3 cards of your library and rearrange them in any order you want. Not only does this let you filter lands to the top so that you make sure you can make your land drop every turn, it also lets you hide spells from your opponent by not ever having them in your hand.
Speaking of card draw and card selection, our next two repeat offenders are Sylvan Library and Rhystic Oops, I Won the Game Study. These two cards, while we're on the subject of card selection and card draw, are probably the most busted and efficient card draw engines in the entire game. These cards, if left alone, will certainly net you an L. I guarantee you, over long term, if you let anybody keep either of these two cards, they will blow you out. Sylvan Library, if the player's competent, they're going to take the 8 every turn, draw 3 cards, and just accelerate into their victory. And Rhystic Study, because everybody seems to love letting people draw cards, people will not pay for Rhystic Study. It's really a shame. Let me give you some advice. If you're sitting across the table from someone playing Rhystic Study or Sylvan Library, make sure you kill them first, because they're probably going to win. Ooh, now we're getting into busted territory. Here it is, Yawg's Win. Man, where do I even start? Well, for starters, Yawg's Win is just ridiculous because of the fact that it just generates you nothing but card advantage. Allowing you to cast your spells once in your hand, then cast Yawg's Win, and then play them again from your graveyard, busted. Enables your storm count, gets your storm count super high, allows you to recur any useful spells, played in pretty much every black deck that uses the graveyard, Reanimator, Storm. I mean, just amazing. I mean, there's a reason why this card is restricted in Vintage. Just one more thing to note, Yawg's Win is very skill intensive, so you got to be really careful when playing this card, because as soon as it's active, if a card gets discarded going to the graveyard from anywhere, anytime, it is going to go into exile. If you happen to lose the game after resolving this card, just got to say it, you should probably just go ahead and pack up for the day and make sure to put those cards away. Alright, here we go. Now we got the Green Deck's George Foreman grill. This thing can cook up whatever you are trying to do. Being able to search your library for any creature that you need for any situation, wink wink combo pieces, as well as being able to fill your graveyard with any kind of useful cards, makes this card a multi-tiered threat. I mean, it's Man, I'm getting choked up here just thinking about all the busted things that you can do with this card. If someone's got this card in play, you need to do something about it, or if not, just die, because that's probably what's going to happen. You know, one thing to remember about a lot of these powerful cards with powerful effects, the cards that give you fast mana, the cards that give you card advantage by drawing, or even the cards that allow you to search your library, they're all incredibly powerful, and especially when they're repeatable. So keep that kind of stuff in mind when looking at really threatening cards like this. You know why they call this card Cradle, right? It's because this card is really good at making people go night-night. This card generates so much mana so fast, it's ridiculous. It's one of those cards where if you leave it on the board unchecked, or you don't at least try to deal with the player, the amount of advantage that they're just gonna get from casting multiple creatures, which is what they want to do anyway, and being able to continuously have mana to be able to deal with threats is really, really, really hard to overcome. You will not make mana fast enough to be able to outrace a Gaea's Cradle, and that's a really unfortunate fact. I really wish that Sanctum was better, and I really wish that Tolarian Academy was unbanned. So for the time being, until this card gets banned, which it should, you're just gonna have to deal with the card. I mean, you should be playing Strip Mine, and you should be having options to deal with all of the board presence that this card ends up bringing out. So it's very, very strong. Well, if it isn't the most powerful counterspell in the game, or arguably the most powerful counterspell in the game, this card has been known to gain a ridiculous amount of advantage for people pretty much since the start of the format. Mana draining somebody's Gilded Lotus and then off of the back of that casting your own Gilded Lotus, or these days playing a Paradox Engine, is one of the sickest back-to-back plays that you can do in the game. And it's really difficult to overcome the amount of, just pure advantage that you get off of the back of this card here. I mean, there's no more efficient counterspell in the game for sure, and it's really, really debatable if it's the best one, but I'm hard pressed to find one that's better than this card. I mean, it does everything. It's really cheap, mana efficient to be able to counter a spell, counters a spell at the right place at the right time, and nets you mana. What are you gonna do? Now we're getting to walkers. We're talking about advantage. Walkers give you advantage. And I know you're talking about Deathrite Shaman is not a walker, it's an elf. No, Deathrite Shaman is a 1-mana planeswalker. Deathrite Shaman does everything on Earth that you need and want it to do. This card is so ridiculously versatile in such a small 1-mana package. It is hard pressed for you not to play this card if you are playing either green or black. This card is amazing, and it does it all. Now, there's a lot of people that are under the impression that Jace the Mind Sculptor and other Planeswalkers are not very good in the format. They're absolutely wrong. Just because Planeswalker, or any card for that matter, can't deal with every single player at the table at the same time, doesn't mean that the card is not good. Jace the Mind Sculptor's repeatable abilities, all of them are relevant. There's not a single ability on Jace the Mind Sculptor that's not relevant, and that puts him at the top of the chain of walkers, and definitely puts it at the top of the chain in cards in the format. Let me ask you a question. The greatest question ever asked. If Expropriate resolves, which do you choose? Time or money? There are no clear winners for this card except for the person that casts this card, and that person is a sadist in every respect of the word. I don't know what it is particularly about this card that makes people go completely and utterly mental when it comes to figuring out which choice to make. There is no additional choice. There's only one choice. You don't let them take turns. I mean, you're still losing because they're time warping and they're taking 3 permanents for you, but giving somebody 4 turns back to back, just really, really, really difficult to stop. There's nothing more back-breaking and demoralizing than somebody resolving a Expropriate, and I mean, I'm sure I don't need to tell you anything about it. Everybody knows about the next card, that's for sure. And last but not least, Tooth and Nail. And nail it does. It nails you straight to the wall, or puts that nail straight in the coffin every time it's resolved. I mean, I don't need to drone on and on and on about how powerful Tooth and Nail is as a card, but I mean, if you haven't had it resolved on you, you should try it. It's a good exercise in finding ways to remove your teeth or your hair by bashing your face into a desk. Tooth and Nail is so frighteningly efficient that it is definitely one of the strongest finishers in the entire format. Other than that, I guess we are coming to a close here on the top 10 EDH Commander cards. And it was a pleasure to talk to you guys today about these cards. I hope that I get a chance to speak with you guys more about these in the future. And I look forward to making more lists for you. So if you enjoy this, please keep watching. Thank you for tuning in to the top 10 most powerful Commander cards. If you like videos like this one and you want to come and see some more, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you back next week.